Wednesday 3.
We had Wednesday 1.
And get kicked out of the game. I'm going to get it again. No question in my mind.
He came from one of the toughest areas of Phoenix, most especially of course.
Praying for the safety and
on the defense, talking about it. You better get your ass involved. You better get involved.
I just gotta say, when it comes to former Dallas,
Different.
For sure, and they would have thrown it off because
This guy gets off you.
Solid from and then I go to bed every night like, G man, I promise you that. Man, what is up, Cowboys Nation? It's been a long time, but your boys are back. It's been a crazy couple weeks. But hopefully you guys are doing good. Hit that subscribe, hit the like, hit the share, all that kind of stuff out of the way. But you know, the trifecta between Kelly, myself, and Jimmy Dee, all our kids graduating high school right now. And so it's been a whirlwind last couple weeks. Kelly, I know you got yours done last week. Mine has been this week. So tomorrow morning, my nephew graduates at 9 a.m., and my daughter is right after that. So it's a full day of sitting at thankfully it's an indoor arena, but sitting there listening to about, between the two of them, probably 1,200, 1,300 names being called. You there, Kelly?
Yeah, it's always fun to sit through a 5-hour graduation when you got that. Yeah. It's always fun to sit through a graduation that takes that long. Luckily, my son's was not near that long. It was maybe about an hour ceremony, so I can deal with that. But congratulations to your daughter getting through high school. It's a big accomplishment, you know, for us as parents and for them as kids. That's that first step to adulthood.
No, absolutely. And you know, the thing is, just to get personal too, is you know, my son, he graduated a couple years ago. My daughter's going to university, and she has an opportunity to be the first and on my side of the family that graduate college. None of us in our families ever graduated college on the Tartaglia side of the family. And my son was going to college, but I tell people, college isn't for everyone. I mean, if you're going there with a purpose, my daughter is very focused. She's been a nurse. She's been in a medical program at school. And so that's, you know, she's got her focus. My son, he took a little dip into college. He did a little bit more than I did. He lasted a year. But he's like, Dad, you know, college, you know, we talked, and college isn't, you know, in for him. So my nephew has and I'll give him a plug, Smooth Move, moving and junk removal. So they opened a company doing junk removal and moving, and they do different odd jobs and stuff. So I said, you know what? You know, we saved for your college. That was a deal. It was a gift to kind of make sure that you got college covered. So I said, I'm going to invest in you. So he's an entrepreneur. He's a business owner now, which, hey, man, at 20 years old, taking a shot. I give him credit because I didn't have the cojones to do that on my own. I always wanted to work for somebody because I was afraid to do it on my own. So whatever path your kids choose, you know, you support them and you hope you raised them right, and things will hopefully turn out great. But been very blessed between my nieces, nephews. All of them have turned out, you know, pretty solid kids. So it's definitely proud moments in our household for sure. I think you're lagging, Kelly. I don't know if your thing's still having trouble.
Well, yeah, you got a nephew that would just won state, right?
Yes, he's a state champion baseball player. He got the rock on the game, so that's another reason we had a delay. So he got that going, and so he got a state championship. He's off to college, so it's a battle between, you know, my daughter and him. But I have a feeling if he works hard and he can put on a little bit more weight, he's getting the height. He's still hitting his growth spurt. He'll probably get drafted in 2 years, so he's probably going to get a shot. You know, in the major leagues. I mean, he'd have to work his way up, but I don't know if he's going to be a college graduate because he might be doing baseball. So my daughter is holding out hope to be the first. So it's a race to the finish. Kelly, I think you're lagging, man. It feels like I'm You're a few seconds behind me.
Yeah, I think I am. Hang on. I'm gonna jump out and come back in.
All right, cool. But guys, we definitely appreciate it. Appreciate the love, and we're gonna get into some Cowboys. I apologize for talking a little bit here. Sorry for talking a little bit of other stuff. We're getting Kelly's technical difficulties going, but the schedule is out, and it's 100 days to kickoff. So we're gonna get this thing rolling. This season started, and whenever I figure out what games I'm going to, I always at the beginning of the season, I'm like, I'm just going to 2. Yeah, maybe I'll go to 3. And now I'm going to do what my man Doug has done. Him and his son have done it. And I'm like, man, I'm going to try it. I'm going to go to the home opener, the Cowboys and Giants. It's a 12 o'clock game. My son and I are going to fly out at 7 in the morning. We land at 8:30. Going to get to the game, watch the game, get back to the airport for our 7 o'clock flight, and get home that evening. Now, I don't know. I don't know if it's crazy. I don't know if I'm going to enjoy it. Doug says it's pretty cool, so I'm going to check it out. So I added the Giants game to the list. And then, of course, we got the Cowboys Cave tailgate party. And then we got the I'm going to the Cardinals Monday night game. I'm going to the Vikings Sunday night game. And I think there's one other one. Help me out, because there's one other one I'm going to. I don't know about the Eagles yet. The Eagles are hanging out there. Washington, I'm not 100% sure. But it's going to be a fun year, man. I'm excited for it. I'm excited that football's here. The Cowboys, you got a lot of optimism, and we're going to get Kelly on here, and we're going to figure out this optimism, because he was a little on the edge, right? If you guys been hanging in the cave, you're like, what the hell's going on with Kelly, man? All it took was George Pickens, and he's back on the train. And that's what we needed, was a little life, a little juice in there to make us feel good about this season. It's one of the sparks that we needed, a playmaker. Mix that in with a good draft, really good draft on paper. Could be a great draft on paper. We'll see how it works out. And it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a lot of fun. But let me see. Appreciate everyone in the chat. I may not be able to make the tailgate, Steven. I'd be very disappointed. I'd be very disappointed if you weren't there. And I'm more excited that Kelly's back on. We got everything worked out. We're going to get this thing figured out with my man, Kelly. What's up, man?
We're going to get it figured out. I'm thinking it's about time to just scrap this laptop, man. It's causing me more headaches than it is solutions. But yeah, no. I was gonna say just because what you said, and then right before it went off or whatever, I was just gonna say that as far as the nephew and the college thing, I was gonna say if he goes pro, I mean, then that's gonna be a good thing for you. That might even be a bigger accomplishment. He might even be the first Tartaglia to go pro in any sport. So that would be a pretty good accomplishment.
Yeah,
I'm rooting for him, man. I've been following kind of along with your deal. I think that's cool. I love baseball too. So that's pretty cool. So,
well, he just got invited, and I can send you the link if you are interested to check it out. He just got invited to the All-Star game for the state of Florida. He's on Team South, so nice. He is there today, and I believe tomorrow they play 2 games, so he's going to be pitching in one of them. So he's got a really good shot, and he's getting taller. My brother's 6'2". Other ones on his side, his mom's side of the family, 6'5", 6'4". So he just hit a late growth spurt. It's all of us, I don't know, in our family, all our kids kind of hit the growth spurt late. But he's a lefty. I think he had 92 strikeouts and 7 walks. His control's unbelievable. He can hit 88 on the gun. But so if he can get up to that low 90s, he's got a really good shot. So he's going to go to JUCO. So he had a D1, a couple D1 looks. One was in the state of Kentucky, but he's going to come up to Tampa. Tampa's Hillsborough College has a really good baseball program, a JUCO school. So give him the opportunity to kind of start, get a bit more playing time. Right? You go to a D1, he's going to sit for a couple years or at least a year, and then you got to kind of stay before you get drafted. So it's exciting, man. We're pumped up, and I tell you, that little shit, he's annoying. I love that kid. He's old school, where he just will drive you nuts, but you love him to death. But he'll wear you out. He came over to my daughter's, his cousin's graduation party, and he's like, Uncle Mikey, can I take the wave runners out? Mikey and I and Dom, we're going to take it out. I said, do you know how to back it into the boat ramp? No, but my brother got him a truck. Goes, we could do it. I could do it. I'm like, yeah. You ever seen a boat ramp on Memorial Day weekend? I said, I don't know. And so I told his dad, I said, look, man, I'm not saying no because it's always Uncle Mikey's the jerk because I'm the level-headed one, I'm trying to be the level. And then I look like the bad uncle. I said, I'm saying yes, you figure it out. And so my brother ended up taking him and they dipped it in and he went and they had a good time. But he's a great kid. Love to death. It's a lot of fun watching these kids grow up for sure. So
yeah, that's good stuff, man. You got to love it.
Yeah. But we're talking about the Cowboys and, 100 days to kickoff. And I said, there was a time in the Cowboys Cave that our very own, Kelly K9 was down, never out. You're never out. You're always a Cowboy fan through and through. So there's no doubt there. But you were concerned and you were just kind of feeling a little bummed out of kind of what was going on. No playmaker. We get George Pickens, and it's like the Kelly that we all know and love is back. And so what is your thoughts on, I know we talked a little bit about George Pickens, but we've been kind of out of pocket for a little bit. Now you have to see the OTAs. You see him in there working. You see the kind of, the camaraderie between him and CD seem really good. The offense, you hear it in shoddy. I mean, it just seems like the culture of this team is kind of getting bigger and bigger and better and better. So what's kind of your thoughts? And you guys in the chat obviously want to hear your opinion too, but what's your thoughts, Kelly, now a couple weeks in from everything?
Yeah, man. Obviously, just I still got some concerns, but obviously I was just waiting for that. I needed that one move to kind of put me over the top, to get me there. And I hadn't seen it, and it hadn't been there all off season, and the draft really didn't just blow me away. So when the trade happened for Pickens, that was kind of it for me. And, I've had people tell me and question that and say, how are you going to think that the one, wide receiver is the difference between making you a contender versus a pretender? And I'll just tell you like this, because, having two stud wide receivers, you can't underplay that, because the thing is, this is a passing league, period. People talk about running the football, and I understand what the Eagles just did with Saquon Barkley, and that put that. But think about it. They got two really good wide receivers too, in Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, right? So without those two wide receivers, do they win? Without those two, if they just got A.J. Brown and then maybe a guy that's a decent drop-off and a 1B, do they win that Super Bowl? I'm not so sure they do, because I think that you've got to account for those wide receivers, which opens up the run game. I mean, if you've got wide receivers like that, you can do it. So do I think that Pickens makes that big of a difference? Absolutely, I do. I think it's going to make running the football easier. I think it's going to make life easier on Dak Prescott, because, George Pickens is one of those guys you can just throw the ball up to and he's going to go get it. He's going to make hard contested catches. I mean, you see the one-handed grab that a lot of people posted the other day. I mean, that's kind of a routine catch for a guy like Pickens. And then you've got CeeDee Lamb, who does the same thing. He contorts his body all over the place. The Minnesota Vikings game comes to mind when he makes that catch where he literally turns his body back towards the ball, falling away, and makes that catch, ridiculous grab. Having wide receivers like that can make plays like that is just, it's top tier. It's top tier. And I think that the fact that we're going to be able to see that on offense this year, that's enough to excite me. I mean, that's nature's Viagra right there. I mean, I'm excited. I don't know how you can't get excited. If you're not, you got to check your pulse, man. It just completely changed the trajectory of how I was feeling about this season. I still have my question marks and I still have my doubts about certain position groups on this team, but ultimately, I feel like this is a double-digit win team now. So
yeah, and I couldn't agree more with. It's one player, but what does that one player do at every level? How does he affect every level? You're talking about how does he affect the tight ends? How does that affect the offensive line? How does that affect the running game? Like you said, they're not going to be able to stack the box up and shut down the run. They're going to have to respect every level of this offense. We can get to the defense, but they got to respect every level of this offense, and that's one player. And the Cowboys really haven't had that since, obviously, the days of Cooper and CD, and that was, that wasn't long lived. but hopefully this outcome will be a lot longer. So looking at the running game and with Pickens and with everything, and you're kind of seeing it now. I thought this would play out the way that it's going to be, and I think Javonte Williams is going to be kind of your RB1, if you want to call him one. I still think there's going to be committee, but I think it's going to be Javonte Williams, and then our boy Blue are going to be kind of that 1-2 punch, and then you'll mix in either Sanders or Maffa, kind of depending on the flavor and how that kind of pans itself out and works itself out, and through training camp and stuff. But what is your belief in Williams? Because the thing I'd say, coming out of college, dude was a beast. I mean, I seen him in the ACC. I saw what he did to McCain's. I seen what he did to a lot of teams. Injuries have been his Achilles heel, no pun intended, but it's just been nagging injuries for him. And, my brother is a big Broncos fan, and we talked, in the office a lot about Javonte Williams. And, I mean, is he good? And my brother just swears to it. He didn't really want to see him go, but it is what it is. He said the problem is health. When he's on the field, he's been productive, and you see flashes of it. It's health. And, there's a lot of running backs, and you kind of say that, and you just need to get that one. But look at the Broncos team that he kind of had until obviously last year. They didn't really have a lot. Now he's going into an offense to, like you said, they're not going to be able to stack the box because you got Pickens and you've got CD and you still got Jake Ferguson, and you don't know what's going to happen with Mingo. So they've got the offensive weapons, and Kavonte Turpin, we didn't even mention him. So
right.
The running game, it's usually the run opens the pass, but I think you said something that was kind of there is this pass game may really open up the run and give these guys the lanes that they need. Does that seem fair?
Yeah, I mean, I think it does. I mean, I'm still a little, like I said, I do think it will open up the run game. I'm still a little underwhelmed with overall with the running back room situation. I kind of said that leading up to before even we got Pickens. I mean, I like it. I don't love it. And I think that
a lot of unknown.
It is, because Javonte Williams, one, has to stay healthy. You're depending on him as running back one, but I mean, if he goes down, then what? You've got two rookies that you're depending on to make significant impacts and to be able to kind of carry the load. Jaden Blue is not really that kind of guy. He's not a guy that's going to be an every down back. He's more of a complementary back. He is kind of a Swiss Army knife. He can do a lot of everything, run the ball, catch the ball. He can be a, even line him up out at receiver at a slot, but it concerns me a little bit that there's just not a more kind of proven back, in my opinion, because there's guys with potential, but potential doesn't always pan out. So I just feel like that, on that side of the ball, that if they had got, more of a veteran, a proven guy that that you could plug in and is going to be a consistent guy. And I don't really know if there's that guy out there. A lot of people talk about Nick Chubb, but I mean, he's had how many knee injuries has that guy had? I mean, there's no guarantee that he's going to be the same. I know that they've been talking about, there's been some workout videos posted with Nick Chubb, and and they've talked to the Cowboys, and the Cowboys said that they're good at running back. They don't plan on making any moves. So, I mean, if you take that at face value, you kind of just believe that they're good and they're set rolling into that. So if that's the case, then they're just going to have to, roll with who they got. And again, I think that the pass game will help the running game. I think it will assist it. So, if we're just, as long as we can run the ball. As long as we can run the ball, that's what I'm worried about is to be able to run the ball. I think with a better offensive line, better weapons at wide receiver, both of those things right there. Better coaching, because I think the offensive line coach Connor Riley, I really like him. That's an underrated move, and not a lot of people were talking about. I love that move. I think those three things actually are going to assist and make the running game better than what we saw last year, even if maybe the talent is a little bit less. And I don't think that's the case. I think the talent's better this year with the running back. I'm just saying that, oh, shit.
Oh, you're saving money at Walmart. What the hell's going on?
Yeah, I got but no, I scared the hell out of me. I just think that I think ultimately the Cowboys will be good enough in the run game that will be,
Well,
Not going to be anything crazy.
Maybe our man Trey, he says you guys sleeping. I'm not sleeping on Javonte. I saw what he did to my Hurricanes, so that still gives me nightmares. He said the running back room is going to shock a lot of people. They do have, it's youth, and I've said running back is a young man's game, and they've got some young running backs. Now, one of the running backs that I saw in the chat, I think Luis had mentioned him, is Deuce Vaughn. And I know, Kelly, you've been a Deuce Vaughn guy in the beginning, and you were on, I think your hot take or your bold prediction. What was it? 1,000 yards?
Yeah, it was 1,000 all-purpose. It was 1,000 all-purpose yards, and that did not pan out.
No. So, do you think he's one of those guys that's kind of like the roster bubble, or do you think maybe Shoddy can utilize his skill set better? The only thing I would say, and when he came out, any old school guy, would know. I equated him to like, and now I'm having a brain for the kid who was on Philly and then he was at the Chargers, Darren Sproles. I equated him kind of like a Darren Sproles. Was real small, went to K-State, fast as heck, and just was just an unbelievable complimentary back. And he was tough to bring down, and it never panned out for Deuce Vaughn. And I don't really see. I just think maybe the NFL is too big for him. Maybe, and I'm not saying from his stature or him being too short, but I just don't know if he's an NFL caliber running back at that level. Am I wrong?
I think it was a nice story. And I think, he was a good collegiate back. I remember watching him at K-State. He was really good, really talented. But when you think about it, the talent level is obviously different at the NFL level. So what translates in college to some, kids doesn't switch over to the NFL because things are just different. And so, a lot of times you can get away with being an undersized running back in college football because not every guy is playing at the pro level, where in the NFL, everybody's playing at the pro level. I just don't see how Deuce Vaughn fits into this running back room. I really don't, unless something changes and unless all of a sudden in training camp, he's just, phenomenal and just showing out. But I mean, he's had a couple of years now. And, somebody had said that they saw flashes of him. I said, well, I don't know. I saw flashes. I saw sparks, maybe, so wouldn't say it was flashes. I saw maybe
most of it was preseason. It was preseason.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was going to say. In the regular season, what have we really seen from Deuce Vaughn that lets you think that most of the time it's, him getting smashed in the backfield. So I don't think that – I think the Deuce Vaughn experiment's over. And, so I don't know. I think that's over. I don't see he's got a place on this roster.
And to Mark's point, the only way he could is if there's a need for special teams. That's going to be the curious thing with running backs, because typically like your third, if you keep four, your third, fourth running back are going to be special teamers. And Miles Sanders is one of those guys. He's a veteran. Not many people talk about it, but he's one of those guys on the roster too, that as a veteran running back had success, and you're not sure what's going to happen, with him now that they've drafted two young running backs. I think it's over. I just don't know if it's I don't know if it's a good fit. He had opportunity, and the other name I'm going to bring up is a fan favorite, a training camp. You always find a guy, and Hunter Lipke, and if they keep fewer tight ends and maybe add him as kind of like that hybrid, maybe he could stay on. But I mean, how are you feeling about Hunter Lipke? Do you think he has a shot of getting more opportunity or staying with the club?
Maybe. He hasn't really shown me a whole lot yet. So I kind of feel the same about him as I do about, Deuce Vaughn. It's just really not anything that I saw that really jumped out at me with him. So I don't know that he's a guy that I would count on bringing anything to the table. Had a couple of times last year where they put him in late game situations and stuff when, and ran the ball, I guess, decent. But I don't think that you have to be able to find a spot in your offense for him. where he gets a few plays here and there, kind of like a use check for the Niners. I just don't know if I see that for him, just because if you think about it, there's really not many NFL teams that really have a guy like that. That's kind of like your fullback, halfback, hybrid type, guy. Just because the league is more or less based on speed. I mean, yeah, you do have some power backs that are short yardage guys, but most of your really talented guys are a kind of a blend of that talent, where they're power and speed both. And I feel like Hunter Lipke, he's not really a very fast guy, so he's not going to be breaking away from anybody. And so I don't know. I don't know how I would envision any kind of role with him either. I think he's kind of on the same lines as Deuce Vaughn, where his days may be numbered with the Cowboys fairly soon.
Yeah, and I mean, really, roster spots are premium. I mean, it is.
Yeah, they are.
Is he better than the question would be, is he better than one of the tight ends? Is he better than your third tight end? Is he better than your fourth tight end? Because if injuries could take, you got a long off season and training camp. So, I mean, this is all just speculative right now. We don't know. You can have, knock on wood, it doesn't happen, but you could have an injury. It could change your needs. So it's really early, but if he's on the roster, I really don't see him getting many touches, because you think about what they have, and you got to get touches to CD. You got to get your touches to Pickens. Now you're going to have to get touches to Turpin at some point on offense, whether it be, 5 opportunities a game. You're going to obviously be running the football, and you're going to have Williams, you're going to have Blue, and you're going to be, if Sanders is there, or even Maffa, there's going to be, I don't know if there's enough touches to go around where his roster spot is worth keeping for him. So it'll be interesting. But I think the thing that we talk about is the offense. And this offense is I think we're feeling pretty good about the offense. The question is the defense. And before we get going, what game is the tailgate? Sorry, EJ, you've been sleeping, or I gotta give it for everyone. It is going to be the Packers. I believe it's week 4. So the Cowboys Cave annual tailgate party will be then. And I kind of starred something because EJ is still upset. He does our Cowboys Cave fantasy football league. He had an opportunity for back-to-back titles, and he blew it. And it was all Jalen Hurts' fault. So I have no pity for that. I'm glad that's the reason you lost. It's nothing against EJ. It's really more against my dislike for any Eagle bringing any championship to anybody. We can't have any of that stuff. So but all kidding aside, yeah. So we do our fantasy football. It's way early, but I always tell people we kind of rotate some of the people to keep it fair. I know Mark got upset about it, but we try and keep it fair. So we will be adding a couple new people, kind of rotating some stuff. So any of our subscribers that are interested, there's an easy way to get a hold of Kelly or myself. And also, Kelly, our fan of the month, we kind of got away from it because of these kids graduating high school, but we definitely want to get back into that as well.
Yep. Absolutely. I thought about that last week. I was like, you know what? I did that at the beginning of the deal, and there were some people that kind of entered it, and I didn't do it. So I think I may have to just double up on that, and I'll have to figure it out. Go back and get the people. We'll draw something, and then make that up to them, because that's been a good deal for a lot of the people in the cave that have liked to come in here and do that. And we've set a high standard on fan of the month, so we've got to keep that thing going. So
yeah, we'll get that one. We'll definitely get that back. But looking at we're gonna get into some college. USC, Texas Tech. I highly doubt that, but we're going to get into some college. But first, let's finish up a little bit on observations, OTAs with the defense. You see what the Cowboys are rolling out. I think edge rusher is going to be a big strength for them with the depth that they got, the draft. Obviously, you got Nealon. You got Williams coming back. We're signing a Fowler, Parsons. Linebackers, you saw a bunch going out there. Obviously, Agent Zero, Overshown is the one that's going to be the wild card. Early, not anticipating him coming back too early. Secondary has been, kind of a question. Elam, the guy the Cowboys traded for from, I believe, the Ravens. I know he went to Florida, first round draft pick from them. heard some good things about him. He seemed to not have an issue. You know, when players leave the Cowboys, they talk shit about he seemed to embrace it and was so excited at the amenities and the training, facility and all the stuff that they've got for the players to make them better. There was actually someone coming in talking positive. But I didn't see that on Twitter much, or ESPN. They didn't really want to talk about that because I guess it was positive. But what's your take on this defense? Obviously, we know the concerns with a couple positions, but where are you at with where this defense is in a daunting, difficult schedule that we didn't even get into, but that's ahead of them?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, that schedule that we got going on, that's the biggest thing, is that every year, we have there's teams that were really good last year that fall off the following year, and then there's teams that weren't great last year that turn out to be really good this year. So that's the thing, is that it's always an unknown when it comes to that. So really trying to pinpoint it and who's going to be good, who's not, is always kind of difficult to tell until about week 3, week 4. You start to really kind of tell who the cream of the crop's kind of rising to the top, and then you kind of see who teams are, and get a good feeling for it. Right now, the good thing for us right now is that last year, judging off of last year, what I saw was that for this team was that, two things stand out. One, the injuries, and two, I felt like McCarthy really started to kind of lose the team a little bit towards and not necessarily lose the team, because they did kind of play hard going down the stretch. That defense was playing a lot harder when they got healthy, but I feel like that they knew that this season wasn't really going anywhere. And I think that automatically this year, that is fresh start, new coach, got new players, new rookies coming in, a guy like Pickens comes in. I think that just really is a shot of energy for this team to re-energize the team and kind of turn some things around. So again, man, my optimism's kind of through the roof when it comes to the outlook for this team going in this year, in this season.
Yeah. And I think when you're looking at the defense, you're really, the hope that you have is that Eberflus can work his magic scheme wise. I mean, because as a defensive coordinator, and I talked about it a few times, he's done very well as a defensive coordinator with not a lot of talent. There's more talent on this defense with the Cowboys than he probably definitely had in Indianapolis. And he was able to maintain a pretty good rush defense, top 10. He was able to flip the Bears when he went over there. They were the worst defense, and they flipped them to the number 1 rushing defense. So there is something with his scheme. It's just a matter of, does he have the personnel to run a scheme? Now, they went through the draft. They did free agency. I know that you don't know what you're going to get, but who's the kid they got from the Jets? He was drafted by the 49ers.
The defensive tackle?
Yeah, defensive tackle.
Solomon.
Yeah. Man, did you see that dude is shredded? I mean, if he plays as good as his muscles look, I think we got an all-pro on our hands, but I know that doesn't necessarily equate to great football. But, I mean, he looks in phenomenal shape, and it's a lot of question of, that kid, he wasn't successful with the 49ers. He wasn't successful with the Jets, but maybe a scheme can make him successful. And that's what you're kind of hoping for, is you get these plug and play guys that are coming from different teams that buy into the scheme and can elevate this defense. I mean, that's really what you're hoping for on defense, because let's just be honest. I mean, the defensive tackles aren't any different than they were last year.
No.
And they're really not any different, I don't believe, than the year before, if my memory serves me correctly. And they've been shredded. And the secondary's basically the same up the gut. Linebackers, I mean, it's probably a wash right now. Maybe the same, maybe a little better, maybe a little worse, however way you want to look at it. So if the scheme doesn't fix it, this team is going to have trouble stopping the run. I mean, that's just the law of averages of what they have. And if you look at their schedule and you look at the kind of teams they're going against, this scheme better be able to stop the run, or we better have a damn good ball control offense that limits the possessions of the other team.
Yeah, and I think the problem that I see as far as defensively is that, I'm willing to give Eberflus a chance here to kind of prove himself as a defensive coordinator and being a good defensive coordinator. I mean, he has in the past. He's proven himself. My whole thing is that it just seems like the same issue. It seems like the Cowboys have, they've tried to address it. I wouldn't say they haven't tried to address it because they did draft Mozzie Smith. That hasn't really panned out so well so far. And a lot of people it's amazing the amount of faith that people have that Mozzie is going to get better because the numbers show that that's not really true. In terms of PFF grade, he actually graded out worse last year than he did his first year. So I don't really see where people are kind of getting this optimism with Mozzie because I don't see it. I still haven't seen it. So, I mean, if you're just, going off of blind hope, then, yeah, good deal for you, but I need to see it. I've been saying, I keep saying all off season and continue to say it. I'm going to be a guy that I'm going to not negative, but I'm going to need you to show me. And that's the same thing with with this whole roster. It goes for the offense and the defense. I'm going to need somebody to show me. But Mozzie Smith did not play well last year. He had a few. I will say he flashed a couple of times. He did flash, but he's still subpar defensive tackle. And if he does not improve his play this year, we're in trouble because we're dependent on And I know they got that Mata guy. They got him in the 7th round. But again, you never want to go into your season depending on a 7th round rookie defensive tackle to shore up your run defense. That's just that's not the way that any team wants to go into the end of the year, starting off and being like, yeah, well, we got that 7th round defensive tackle that should be better. I just haven't seen it from Mozzie. So the defensive tackle, to me, that's my biggest concern. I know there's been a lot of talk about people talking about the cornerback position. I'm not as concerned with that as I am about defensive tackle. The run game has been a problem for years, and I don't see how that got any better unless the Cowboys go out and address that by picking somebody up here before the season starts.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have your June 1st cuts, but I mean, at this point, you got to think there's not going to be a whole lot out there, on the street. I mean, if they wanted to trade for someone and give up capital, but they've never been. I mean, they did it a little bit this year, obviously, with Pickens, and they made a couple trades to give up some draft capital. But I don't see them doing that again. I don't see them, they're not going to be F the picks and just keep trading. I just don't see it happening. Plus, you got to have a partner with it. So there's going to be a lot put on the scheme. And, the secondary, as long as, I don't know what happened to this viral video with Diggs' brother, some pink powder. I don't know. I mean, I might have been out of the game too long. I don't recall what pink powder. I don't know if that I know white powder. I don't know anything about no pink powder, but I don't know if you saw that video that kind of went out there, him on the boat with the ladies. But hopefully my man Trayvon is not anywhere near that boat. We need him focused on getting ready. But yeah, not a good look for Stephon though. And I thought I met Stephon. He was a great guy, a good guy. I always wonder why people make videos that have high level positions, whether in business or, in athletics, with so much to risk. Why? The greatest model that any athlete can look at is Derek Jeter. I mean, that dude played for how many years in the biggest team, multiple championships, the media all over him. And did you ever see any scandal? Did you ever see any pictures? Did you ever see any odd things ever go public with Derek Jeter?
Yeah, no. I mean, you gotta keep that in mind when you're a celebrity. People are always going to be out there and ready to catch somebody slipping.
We don't need him to be the new Danny. We don't want that. We've got
way
too many.
Hold on, hold on real quick because I saw in the comments. I did see something about. I just want to address Luis Ortiz. I want to say that because he said I was being a negative Nancy about Mozzie and Mozzie improved. I'll just let you know the last that last 2 games of the season, the Dallas Cowboys gave up 179 rushing yards and 150 rushing yards. If that's an improvement,
It might have been.
if that's an improvement, if you saw that as an improvement, I want to know what exactly a good run defense looks like, because 179 yards to the Eagles was goddamn terrible, and they were gashing us right up the middle. So no, Mozzie did not improve at the end of the year. I don't know where that came from. I've looked for it. I've tried to watch as I rewatched that Eagles game. That run defense we had was terrible. So I'm not being negative. I'm being legit. Look up the statistics and look at those. Just look at the last 3 or 4 games of the season and watch how much runs the Cowboys were giving up. Big runs too. I'm talking about up the middle, runs for 10 yards, runs for 15, runs for 20. They're getting stopped at that second level. They're not getting stopped at the first level. Mozzie played horrible. Osa is a great pass rusher, but he's not a great run stopper. The middle of that defensive line is the weakest point on this Cowboys defense. So not trying to be negative. I'm just keeping it real with you, man. That was not an improvement. So
I think it was, and I'm not a PFF as the Bible, but I mean, at least it give you a barometer. I think he's dead last.
He is. He was like 200 and he was ranked like, actually not dead. I think he was 216th of 219th defensive tackles. That ain't good. That ain't good at all.
No. And yeah, so we're gonna. I want to get into one last topic, but I want to shift just a quick moment because we talked Cowboys. We're gonna jump back to the Cowboys because I really want to get into this Dak Prescott thing. But I'd be remiss not to do a little college football because I think you're feeling pretty good about your team. I'm feeling good about mine. I don't know, everyone else is feeling good. College football 26 will be coming out soon and all that kind of good stuff. So there's a lot of feel good with college football. And we're going to have Uncle Cheech on in a few weeks. And he does his sleeper and he does, the teams to watch out for. And I talked to him a little bit a couple of weeks ago, and he's been listening to Kelly, and he said he has some words for Kelly. So I don't know if it's good or bad, but Uncle Cheech wants to be on to talk to you. But looking at Texas Tech, looking at the state of college football, just overall, how do you feel about just the overall college football with NIL, expanded playoffs? Now you're starting to see the field, the playing field get leveled. With players going in the portal. Is it a little too much? Do they need to try and control it a little bit? For a team like you, Texas Tech, it's given them the opportunity to kind of, hey, we can make a run at this thing and become players. Miami is, I mean, it's helped Miami. I mean, last year, Cam Ward was a product of the transfer portal. Martinez there wasn't, a lot of the guys that got drafted weren't all homegrown guys. They were portal guys. So I've got no hate in it. But I mean, how you feeling about this college football season coming up and you guys in the chat too?
Well, I'm just going to say, I mean, I know a lot of people have been sitting there and they're like, oh, Kelly, Texas Tech homer. They see me on Twitter and they see me, talking this and talking that. And they're like, yeah, it's a pipe dream. Listen, I say now that I've seen 3 different outlets project Texas Tech in the college football playoffs. It's not just me being a Texas Tech homer. It's not. When I said Texas Tech was going to make the college football playoffs, people were like, you're smoking. Look, you cannot judge Texas Tech off of the past. You got to look at what's going on right now. And what's going on right now is Texas Tech bought themselves a roster. They went out and bought themselves a roster. That's what they did. So I'm telling you right now, I got Texas Tech running the table until the college football playoffs. I got them going undefeated into the college football playoffs. I don't have them losing at the game. You look at Texas Tech's schedule and you tell me who they're losing to. And SoCal, he's the one I listen to the least. That dude was pumping up the USC Trojans all last year, and they were shit. The USC Trojans were shit in one of the weakest divisions in college football. Y'all didn't do a damn thing. So I don't want to hear shit about the Trojans because y'all ain't nothing. Y'all ain't even on our level. You guys are below our level. You guys are muck. You're beneath the muck. You're not there anywhere near the Canes. You're not anywhere near the Texas Tech Red Raiders. So take that USC Trojan trash and get the hell out of here. Because I'll make you a bet right. Sure, I will make you a bet right now, a Dallas Cowboys jersey of your choice, throwbacks, get whatever the jersey you want, the $250 one. I'll make you a bet, SoCal, right now. Texas Tech will finish with a better record than USC. Easy.
Now the offer has been made. Let's see if
Put your money
SoCal-
where your mouth is. Put your
let's see
money where your
if
mouth is.
SoCal
So-
will accept. Well, they're going to see if he accepts. If he accepts it, oh, here he goes. Now we got excuses. Now we've got excuses. Maybe he's not accepting it. He's saying your division's not as good.
Well, we're in the Big 12, not the Big 10 there, SoCal. So you're gonna need to kind of figure that out. He said. Anyway, look,
Oh, he
listen.
said Big 10 is what the USC's in now.
Oh yeah, well that's fine. I mean, that's fine. They may not be the weakest division in football. The Big 10. I kept thinking when they're in the WAC 12. Either way, you guys got smacked around in the Big 10. You couldn't compete. You couldn't compete.
Let's break it down, Kelly. And I don't have the schedules in front of me. Maybe I need to look it up. But what signature wins could Texas Tech get this year? Like what? So we're talking about the playoffs. We talk about. I mean, what are the games on their schedule that could be okay? Because that was the Achilles heel for Miami. No fault of theirs. I mean, they played Florida at Florida. Florida's an SEC team. They were, expected to be better. They weren't. They played Florida State. Florida State just came off a, undefeated, regular season. Quarterback gets injured. That killed their postseason. They weren't as good as projected. This year, the Canes are playing Notre Dame. They're playing Florida. Obviously, they're going to play, I'm sure, Clemson at some point, Florida State, whatever. So they've got some games on their schedule to give them some signature wins, but you don't know how they're going to play out. What is Tech and what is USC looking at for their signature wins? But what's Tech looking at for their key games?
So that's the thing. That's the reason why I got Texas Tech going undefeated through the season, because they're not really playing any great teams. They're going to have a Houston team who will be decent. They got BYU, who was a good team last year in the Big 12. Yeah. BYU was good. So BYU and Houston, Kansas to an extent. Kansas was a pretty decent team last year. They weren't bad, and Kansas is on their schedule this year. So, I mean, in terms of teams, it's like a powerhouse. They're not going up against any powerhouse.
Or
no, they're not playing like Texas or USC. They're not playing any of those teams. They're not playing Texas. They're not playing. Those teams are in the SEC now. So I mean, they don't really have anybody really daunting on their schedule. And when you look at that team right now, just the defensive line, just in our front four, they got 3 guys that are projected to be drafted in the NFL. One of them in the first round, and that's David Bailey, the highest ranked pass rusher in all of college football last year, playing for Stanford. He is coming in. I think he had 14 and a half sacks last year. But I mean, that guy's projected as a first round pick. You got Romello Height as the other pass rusher on the other side. He's projected to be a guy who, as of just even last year, this could change, but it projected to go in one of the first 3 rounds, probably second or third round. And then they've got a guy who they got out of UCF, a defensive tackle, another guy who's also projected to go in the NFL draft. So that's 3 of the 4. And then, I mean, their front 4 is scary. And then they've got linebackers coming back. They got a couple, one All-American linebacker that's coming back for next year. They've got guys in their secondary that are highly rated. They've got Micah Hudson, the 5-star wide receiver, coming back on offense. They grabbed a guy who didn't want to be at USC. He was a Joyner. That dude is a really speed running back. That guy's going to be great behind this Texas Tech offensive line that has all kinds of beef. He decided he'd get away from a trash program like USC and join some winners in Texas Tech. So he vaulted out of USC and came and took that paycheck to come play for the Red Raiders. I mean, they're stacked. They're stacked all over the board. And again, it's not just me saying it. You can look on any of these. Look on all these pieces. Pages that talk college football. They've got Texas Tech up there. I mean, I sent that one deal and I tagged you in the one that had Miami and Texas Tech both in the college football playoffs. So it's not me sitting there gassing up my team and thinking that we're going to be something we weren't. We won 8 games last year with a far, far, far superior roster. We have an easier schedule this year. We have way more talent this year, and just the roster is completely turned over. This is a whole new roster, just amazing talent.
And I was just going to say is, I mean, your guys' schedule is, you're saying it's questionable. You don't have the murder's row that USC has. Do you know their out of conference games that they have? Do you know who they're starting the season with, Kelly?
I'm sure it's probably some big name school that they'll get waxed by like 50.
They put Missouri State, not Missouri. They put Missouri State on the schedule. Do you know who they're playing in the second game?
Oh, they playing in the second game.
I mean, just slow down. Georgia Southern.
Oh
Not
my!
Georgia. They're playing Georgia. I mean, their out of conference schedule is pathetic. USC should be ashamed of themselves. They should.
Well, I mean, that's kind of where USC has fallen. I mean, they've fallen by the wayside, and they know that they can't actually beat legit contenders and the legit programs. So,
two schools in their out of conference schedule. They should be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That's USC for you. I mean, I don't take anything by SoCal because he talked all kinds of shit last year, and by week 4 he was quiet as a mouse. Wasn't saying anything. He had all kinds of excuses about why USC sucked and why they were one of the most pathetic schools in college football. And I mean, they got beat by one of the worst teams in the Big Ten. I think it was Minnesota that they got beat by. I mean, they were just getting waxed left and right. They were the stepchild of the Big Ten. So they couldn't even compete in there. I mean, not even be competitive. So, I mean, I don't really take anything he says seriously. We played in a bowl game. USC was out there, battling it out for one of the bottom spots in the Big Ten. So congratulations to USC for that accomplishment. Great, non-conference schedule, it looks like. But yeah, again, the bet stands, SoCal. I mean, I've got, I've got the money where your mouth is.
He said he wants to come on the show. I gave him the link. Let's see if he comes on the show, Kelly.
Well, let's come on and let's hear some backpedaling here. If backpedaling was an Olympic sport, I think he'd be able to compete.
I mean, if he wants to justify Georgia Southern and Missouri State as a murder's row of out of conference.
Now, who do you guys got, Mike? What's you guys' schedule looking like?
We open up with Notre Dame on the 31st, and then we have
that'd be
Florida
a big win
later. So I'll be going down to Notre Dame, and then they got Florida, and I'm on a Mac too. So don't tell me now he's saying he can't get in because he's got a Mac computer. My computer's a Mac, so I got no issues. Just use, I believe it's Google Chrome. So that's all you need. So here we go.
Google Chrome. See, I mean, that's that USC educated right there. Can't even figure out how to get on the damn show.
No, but the problem is it comes down from Miami. That's what killed him last year. Is ACC was down, and if the ACC's down again, that's going to hurt. I mean, it's going to hurt. It hurts you guys. It hurts us. You can't afford. That's why I said they didn't deserve to be in the playoffs. They lost to Syracuse up 21-0, and they blew it. They don't deserve to be in the playoffs. And I think that's where the trouble is with Miami. Is ACC has got to be what they usually are. Now, Florida State went out and got another quarterback. I mean, thopefully they'll be bounced back and they'll be competitive. And Clemson should be Clemson. They should be fine. So, VTech and North Carolina's got Bill Belichick. So I don't know what he's going to do. He'll be chasing the girls. I don't know if he's going to be focused on his football team, but we'll figure that out. But yeah, we gave SoCal the opportunity, and he did not want to come on the show, but he said, put me on, and we gave him that opportunity. Kelly, what more?
Well, I mean, he's got my DMs. All he's got to do is answer me yes or no, whether he wants to make this bet. We all know when you can't put your money where your mouth is, then that just takes away anything that you're saying. Just stop. You can't talk. I gave you an opportunity to put your money where your mouth is and bet on your squad like I'm willing to bet on mine, and you won't do it because that Texas Tech is going to win more games than USC, even with that soft cupcake-ass schedule you guys got over there.
And I would even say this is, I don't want to change the bet for you, Kelly. I don't want to change the bet. But let's give him the Big Ten's a better – I think we both agree. Big Ten's probably a better comp. We'll give that.
Yeah, I think so.
How about who goes farther in the season? Who goes farther?
Yeah. I mean, we could even do that. And
maybe he plays you guys in the playoffs and beats you, and then you're like, well, they were better. So what about who goes farther? Who goes further in the season, or who's ranked higher at the end of the year? However way you want to do it. What about? Would you entertain any of that? Because then that takes the losses. Because the new platform, you saw teams with 2 losses go against a teams with 1 loss. Right?
Absolutely. I'll go with who's ranked higher at the end of the season.
Yeah.
I'd go with
So
who's
that's
ranked
fair.
higher at the end of the
That's fair for a
season. I'll make
jersey.
that bet too. So what if he wants to make that bet, we'll lock that in. And that's the thing too with Texas Tech, because the Big 12 is not, they're not strong in football. I'm not a moron. I know where they stand in football right now. Now, basketball, on the other hand, is a totally different story. But football, they're not super strong in football, so they're going to have to pretty much run the table in football, which is why I think they're going to. But if they run the table and they go undefeated, they will be in the college football playoffs. I think they might even be able to get in if they only had one. If they have 2 losses, they're done. They're not getting in just because they need to run the table. But listen, when I'm looking at that schedule and I'm looking at the roster, it's not just me that feels like that, man. I'll just leave it at that. I think I've pumped them up enough, and when the football comes out and it's time to start and line them up for 60 minutes, we'll be able to see what's what. All I know is I'm going to be in Lubbock for at least one game. I'm going back, got to see a game this year, so I'm going to go to the BYU game in November. Kind of already got that locked in, so I'll be heading to that game and to watch them. But yeah, college football should be exciting. Now, the thing is that there's a lot of things going on in college football, a lot of things changing, landscape changing. The SEC is talking about completely disassociating from the NCAA and making their own independent league. Now, how in the hell would that work?
They don't need it. The college football does not need the NCAA anymore. NCAA can just
it's basically yeah, I agree. It's basically become professional sports.
Yeah.
It's become professional sports. And because the NCAA basically opened up Pandora's box and decided we're going to have no regulations, no restrictions, pay which they're the one, they did it to themselves.
Yeah.
They did it to themselves. And I think that, it's going the way of where it will be more like a professional league. It's going to the way of that there's going to be these super conferences. But I mean, I'd say Mormon women. Yeah, somebody told me the other day I got to look up soaking. Soak. Apparently, it's something that Mormons do. I'm not sure. Somebody said look up the soak, so I'm gonna have to look that up. But yeah, so Mormon women, we're gonna party together when I go to that BYU game.
I don't agree with you, Kelly. They wanted to know maybe is Mahomes coming back? Did he have eligibility this year? What's going on?
You know what? They're not getting Mahomes back, but I tell you what, you watch it. They won. I'm telling you, they won 8 games last year with a far inferior roster. They went out and got some of the top. They got the top offensive linemen in the portal. They got the top defensive tackle. They got the number 2 cornerback and the number 4 cornerback. They got the number 1 pass rusher. They got the number 4 pass rusher. Like in the transfer portal, they hit home runs in every single position that they needed. They even got themselves a damn kicker. They got every position possible that they got. And then they've got their quarterback, Baron Morton, who that is the key right there, is going to be Morton. Because I wish they could have upgraded the quarterback position a little bit, but Morton is going to be going in. So I think they believe this is his senior season. If Morton can stay healthy, and that offensive line looks to be way improved, so they're going to give him a lot more time to throw. He's going to have weapons to throw to. He's got Joyner at running back. He's got there's a couple of really good running backs, but then he's got some really good stud wide receivers. The 5-star wide receiver, Micah Hudson, that was injured last year, transferred to A&M, punched A&M's quarterback in the face and transferred back to Texas Tech without ever even playing it down. You got to love that. He's already a legend in Texas Tech. So he's looking to have a breakout season and, start his NCAA career, get it off to a better start, because last year had injuries and just couldn't get on the field. But, I mean, he's got a whole lot of talent. You don't come out of high school as a 5-star receiver not being very talented. So they've got talent all over the ball, any position that you look at. So I'm not worried about that. The results will come. Joey McGuire is one hell of a football coach, well-respected in the state of Texas, as a high school coach that won multiple state championships. So it's going to be an exciting season for Texas Tech football. And I've not been able to be a part of anything like this. So to the last time that they were that good was 2008, number 2 team in the nation. I have not seen that since. So I'm excited at the possibility.
And I just to give this is educational, because I didn't know this either. It's a slang term used. Soaking is a slang term used in some circles of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to describe sexual practice that avoids penetration. So I had to look around my camera to see that. That's just a professional, and that's I don't know if I wouldn't be into soaking, but maybe.
I'll tell you what, man. I'm taking that term. I'm gonna put it in my back pocket back here. And when I go to the BYU game, I'm gonna have to ask any of these girls if they're into soaking. But I'm gonna tell
wait
them
a minute.
reverse
Wait a minute.
soaking.
Whoa. I just saw that we might. Could it be true? Do we have SoCal in the house? Is SoCal here? Let me see if I can get him. There we go. Is SoCal here? Let me see if I can get him. There we go. Is SoCal? But you got to turn down. I think you're hearing us. Turn down.
Yeah, turn it down.
But you got to turn down. I think you're hearing us. He's in the dark room. I'm in the dark
Turn it
room.
down. I'm
No,
good.
I just.
He's in the dark
Where's-
room.
Turn it down. I'm
No,
good.
I just.
Bro, what? Mike, what did you just say? I'm in a what?
You're in it's a dark room. I don't know what's going on. So I'm making sure you're okay. It's a dark room. We're getting backgrounds.
I'll turn the light on.
We're hearing you. Do the cancellation off. You need help? So, where's he going? He's going to another room. This is a treat. SoCal, and he's soaking.
There we go. Now we can see you.
SoCal, he's soaking.
There we go. Now we can see you.
All right, we got to get your audio right, and we got to bump you because we're getting. All right, we got to get your audio right, and we got to bump you because we're getting.
I can hear myself repeating everything.
I know. Hello.
I can hear myself repeating everything.
I know. Hello.
I can hear myself repeating everything. Do you have your YouTube on?
Try that. Try.
Do you have your YouTube on?
I do.
Try that. Try.
Oh yeah,
you're off because we're hearing you talk. It's messing us up.
Oh yeah,
Off because we're hearing you talk. Turn whatever you're on off. Just be in with us. There you go. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, is that better?
There we
go.
SoCal is in the house. It took a few minutes. So I'm going to let you and Kelly do your debate. I'm just going to sit and enjoy it because it seems to. And I want to know if we have, first of all, do we have a bet? I changed the bet to who has a better season, who goes further in the season. Is that fair to say? Because it takes some of the losses into consideration.
That's fair to say. And again, Kelly, Texas Tech, like y'all done super good on the transfer portal and whatnot. You play in the weak Big 12. Like, okay. If you look at the rankings, SC is, let me know if I'm wrong, which I'm not. We've done super good. And this is Lincoln Riley's last year. If he doesn't do anything, he's gone. This is going to be a big year for USC. And if we played Tech, we would beat them. I have no doubt about that. No doubt whatsoever.
There's no doubt, Kelly. You got any response?
Well, I'm just gonna say. I said, what do you have to base that off of? You couldn't beat the 10th best team in the Big Ten in Minnesota.
We didn't. You're right. Well, that was 2024. It's 2025.
Yeah, in 2020 and 2025, Texas Tech has the superior roster, top to bottom.
I'm glad you think that right now.
No, I don't think it. I know it.
Bro, you're about to have a disappointing season.
I know it. Look, who name the players on your defensive line that are NFL draft players right now? Because we got 3 on the front 4 going to NFL next year, guaranteed, already projected. One of them in the first round.
I'm not going to debate that. You're right.
The best pass rusher in college football. So who do y'all got? Give me some names? Because I don't know nobody on USC.
And you'll find out this year, but it's cool. Do you want? I'm not trying to dive into the computer and look at stuff.
We're not looking at stats. I'm not looking at anything. So we have a question for you. Who had a better recruiting class, USC or Texas Tech? That's
recruiting class or portal class?
No, recruiting class. Who had
USC.
USC had a better recruiting class.
Number 1 in the nation.
Number 1 in the nation. That's a point for you. Marcus set you up. But who had the better portal class? That would be
Texas Tech.
Number 1 in the nation.
They did. I have no problem admitting that. I'm just saying, like, this is a make or break year for Lincoln Riley.
Well, it sounds like it might be break.
That's the thing is that Lincoln Riley hasn't done anything since he went to USC. So what makes you think that all of a sudden now he's going to be able to pull magic out of his hat?
You are correct. He's done nothing. He's going to lose his job if he doesn't do anything.
Here's a little fact for you. Joey McGuire, since coming to Texas Tech, has won more games every single year since he's starting. So last year he won 8 games. So you're telling me with the #1 portal class in the nation, now we're going to regress and we wouldn't be able to beat a 6-win USC team. You're telling me we wouldn't be able to beat that team last year? If we would have lined up last year, we would have beat y'all's ass. That's last year. This year, we will absolutely wipe the field with USC. I promise you.
Kelly, I'm agreeing with you. That's the thing that you don't want to accept.
Oh, so you're saying that Texas Tech is better than USC. Do we have that on tape?
Mike, I'm agreeing with Kelly saying they had a great portal. They got a great team. I'm not going to lie. You took one of our scrubs. He couldn't cut it at our school. So guess what? He came over to Texas Tech, Lubbock, that like shithole in West Texas. You got a good squad. I'm expecting good things of you. I'm just saying this is a make it or break it year. And USC, the boosters and everything, they did what they needed to do. They pulled the #1 recruiting class for 2025 and 2026. Go ahead and look at the stats. If it doesn't work out, cool. I'm okay with being wrong, but I think we're going to be just fine.
Did a different person named SoCal True put USC is better than Texas Tech football?
No, it's better.
So you're going to be better this year.
Fingers crossed.
No, that's not what this didn't say. Fingers. I don't see. Do you see a fingers crossed emoji? It says,
I don't see fingers crossed. See,
Mike,
hold on. SoCal, hold on. Listen, I know that preseason polls, they don't mean anything, and I know that projections don't mean anything. But let me just ask you a question. Have you seen any, just as if you've seen any poll projection or otherwise that has USC in the college football playoffs? Because I've seen Texas Tech in 3 already. Have you seen USC in 1?
No.
Exactly. There's a reason why. Because these are people that know football. And this ain't me. This ain't me just being a homer. These are people that do this for a living.
Kelly, the Cowboys will win no more than 8 games this next year. I won that bet from Mike. And I'll tell you right now, I have better optimism for USC than I do for the Dallas Cowboys. Texas Tech?
That's fine. And you can have the better optimism. I'm just telling you, there's football experts out there that are making projections for the college football playoffs, and I've seen Tech in several of them. I've seen USC in none of them. So I'm trying to just figure out, because you've got fingers crossed and you're talking of this and that, but I'm saying, where is the USC this year will be better than Texas Tech? Like, where is that at? Where is anybody besides you saying that? Because I've got people that know that do this for a living, that I can pull it out and I can post you graphic after graphic after graphic and say Texas Tech will be in the college football playoffs this year. Not seen that one time from USC. So if we're talking facts here, I just need to know, where is your fact other than you? Yeah, you're saying it as a USC fan and obviously as a USC homer. I'm obviously a Texas Tech homer, but I've also got legit football people that do this that got us in there.
Playoffs. I'm not saying playoffs. I'm saying this is a make it or break it year for Lincoln Riley.
So if Texas Tech makes the college football playoffs and USC does not, then who would have been the better team at the end of the season?
Texas Tech. That's a stupid question.
That's all I'm saying. So I'm telling you right.
Hey, Kelly, we'll make this bet right here. You will not make the college football playoffs.
All right, we'll make that bet. I'll make the bet.
What do you want to bet?
I'll lock it in. Dallas Cowboys jersey of your choice.
No. I don't want a Dallas Cowboys.
There's got to be odds. Why do we have it team to team? You put on there USC greater than. I'm Broward County educated, so I'm not college educated. Like I said, it didn't say the arrow usually pointed to the other way is so it's less than, right? If it was pointed at USC would be less than Texas Tech. There was no equal sign, so it's not equal to. It was a great point with it. So great. So put your money where you said it. I didn't say it. You said it. USC greater than Texas Tech this year. Why don't you make the bet who has a better season?
Hey, Mike, thanks for that, by the way, but I'm talking to Kelly.
I'm Kelly.
No.
Hey,
Mike, thank you, Mike.
Hold on.
No. Thank you. I bet you spit.
Don't say SoCal, Kelly K9.
I bet you spit all that.
I want to know what's going on. And all you have to do is say there's no bet. And I'm fair with that. If you say, hey, I was just bullshitting. We're not better. I'm not
Hey,
making that bet.
Mike, thanks. I'm talking to Kelly.
I'm asking you. I'm asking.
No, Mike.
Hey,
I already
hey,
won
hold
that
on,
bet
hold
from
on,
you
hold on,
last
hold
year.
on. Listen,
We're good. We're good.
That's fine. Look,
Kelly, I'm
look,
saying
SoCal,
I'll bet you
I'll make
Texas
that
Tech
bet
does
because I'm
not make the
confident in it.
playoffs.
But here's the thing: you do. Mike has a point. You do have to run that back and say, if you think that USC is better than Texas Tech, why aren't you putting your money where your mouth is? Because I'm
Just
willing to
admit it.
do it for my squad. But
Admit it.
you ain't backing up your words. You can say USC better than Texas Tech all day long, but if you ain't got the nuts to put your mouth and put your money on the same line, then how am I supposed to respect that? Come on, man. You know how this goes.
No. You know what? I'll say this. I'm scared about USC. Not gonna lie.
Okay.
So then USC ain't better than. So then you don't believe that USC is better than Texas Tech.
That's fine. It's
I
a
think they are
rebuilding
better
year.
than Texas Tech. If you played
You
head-to-head next
but
year,
you
I think we
don't
beat y'all.
believe that. You say it because your pride won't let you admit that they are not as good as Texas Tech. Because if you really believed it, you'd have conviction in your squad and you would put the money right there. When I believe my team's better than somebody, I ain't scared to put the money on the line because I know my team is going to win. If I don't really think it, like last year, if somebody would have said, "Hey, Kelly, are you gonna bet on the Cowboys Eagles? Did the Cowboys beat the Eagles?" I'd have said, "Hell no," because the Eagles are the better team. Like I don't want to
You
say
did
that.
on
It
You
hurts.
lost a bunch.
It pains me to say that, but at least I can admit it because I'm being real. You're just saying USC is better than Texas Tech just because of a pride thing. You don't really believe that. You don't.
Okay.
And everybody, we know that now.
All right. Well, I'll
That's
admit it.
all.
It's
Fair.
fine.
That's
Fair,
fair.
it's fair. It's
No,
fair, and I
I'm
get it.
not
I
saying
respect it
no.
because
I'm
you're a
not
fan,
saying
and I
no. Like,
respect it. I respect
that's my
that, but
family. That's
you
my
don't believe it.
friends. Like, it is what it is.
All right.
Well, that's fair, and that's fine. I could respect that. I just say that we could just say that. Don't believe it, but you'll say it. That's fine.
If they played each other, I would 100% put a bet on that. Yeah, USC would win. I might lose, probably would, honestly.
All right. Well, you've seen this is a beauty of having someone come in, and now it's not behind the. We always say the keyboard guys, and they say now he's not so confident. He didn't say USC greater than. He admits that Texas Tech is better on paper. Now they got to prove it.
No, not
They
on paper.
prove it.
Absolutely not. I will not admit that.
What?
Absolutely
What?
not.
Go back again. What are we doing?
Absolutely not. Don't make me pull up stats and players. No way.
I have no stats in my. You just said that Texas Tech is a better team than USC. You said you're
better
hoping.
Better coached.
Are they a better team or not? Because you're going back and forth.
Better coached.
All right, then make the bet that they're a better team.
I won't say that.
Okay, then you're worse than a goddamn politician. I never seen anything like it. Never seen anything like it.
SoCal, listen, hey, I love you, man. Look, I do. I love you, brother. I just wanted to.
Tailgate. We're gonna see you at the tailgate. You gonna be there?
I'll be at the tailgate, but I'm not paying that money for the game. Like, screw that.
No, you can hang out. You want to hold the tailgate down? You can sit and hang. We're gonna have a TV. We're gonna, you can keep an eye on all the stuff.
I could bring some friends as well.
There you go.
Well, hey, I know that there's a few people that already said they're coming to the tailgate, but they're not going to the game. They want to stay out there. They want to keep the party going, which is, that's admirable. We're going to have people out there, man. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody down there. So, and I appreciate you coming on here for a little lively debate. At least you were a man enough to come on here and come face to face, and let's get it face to face. And then when we come down to the Cowboys Cave, it'll be 4 weeks into the college football season. We can get a better judge of kind of where our teams are at and how we're looking. So.
Well, wait a minute. Now we got debasement says that Penn State's better than both y'all's squads. I don't know if I believe that.
I respect Penn State. I respect Texas Tech. Miami, they suck.
Can't win no big games. Can't win.
Yeah. Well, I don't know a whole lot about Penn State, about who all they lost this year. I know last year they were in the college football playoffs. I don't think they're projected to make the college football playoffs this year, though, are they?
Well, I mean, Penn State's always solid, but hey, he's going to be at the tailgate, so we might have a good college debate. I mean,
we're going to have to. Hey, listen, and the night before that Saturday, there's going to be some college football games. Week 4, yes. We can get together, watch some college football. I'm down for it.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank y'all for having me. I'm sorry.
All right, I appreciate it, brother. Thank
y'all
you.
Have a good night.
I appreciate it, bud.
You got to love when they go wide. You got to give him respect. But why wouldn't he say that they were better? He didn't want to admit it. He didn't want to admit it.
Well, I know. So it's one of those things where it's a pride. It's a pride thing. You don't want to actually have to admit, but he ultimately did. Kind of be like, you know what? Yeah, text it. They got the better squad, and and then he said that he would bet on them, but then he said I'd probably lose. But so I mean, right there, you're just like it's trying to ride the fence. But eventually you got to fall one way or the other. So I'm not claiming Texas Tech's the best college football team in the nation this year, or that will win the national championship. I just think that they're a good enough squad that, and with their schedule in the Big 12, that I think they can run the table. I think they can make the college football playoffs with as many NFL players as they have on that team right now through the transfer portal. There's no reason they shouldn't. Anything less than a college football playoff appearance, it's going to be looked at as a failure because they paid top dollar for this roster. In fact, I think they're one of the top 5 teams that has one of the top 5 most expensive NIL rosters. When you pay that kind of money and invest that type of talent, you are expected to get results. So they got to get results.
This is the example, guys. This is the example. Keyboard live, totally different conversation. Keyboard, this is what he just put. It's a world of social media. And, when they're there, well, maybe not so good. Maybe we got some issues we got to figure out. But the beauty of I'm excited for the tailgate, and it looks like Cut said he's going to be holding it down. If anyone wants to hang out, and I believe we're going to have the TV there, so you're going to have the game on, so he'll be holding it down. And, Garland's going to be there with he's got his 3 sons and grandson coming. Hey, my son's going to be 21. Uncle Kelly already said we're going to get him. He's got to be able to make the game, Kelly. I don't want him crawling, but you got it under control. He's going to shotgun a beer. I think we might have some moonshine for him. So we're going to get that boy tuned up and give him a proper 21st birthday. We're going to give him a proper 21st birthday.
That's right.
But my Canes, think about this, Kelly. By the time that tailgate happens, my Canes would have played Notre Dame and Florida. We're going to find out how good Miami is. We're going to find out.
I mean, that first game against Notre Dame, that's a huge game for you guys. That's a tone setter, honestly. I mean, because if you guys can come in there and win that game, that's going to be big.
Yeah, I'll be down there. The Florida game, I'm on the fence only because, I mean, geez, there's only so many things you can do, so many games you can go to, and all these games are clumped together. So Notre Dame, Miami's historic. I can't pass that up, and they don't play that as often as even Florida does. So we'll see it. But, hey, wanted to pivot. I didn't know we'd get too long, but I wanted to see if maybe, Kelly, if you can hang a few more minutes, if you got time. Hopefully you're good.
I do.
I want to turn this over to kind of the hot topic, and I haven't been a ton on social media, but it seems the great debate that goes on for forever. And I got into it with someone over it. And, the last time I was on a show, and, and Dak we trust is kind of what what a question mark. I'm not saying you do or don't, but you saw, I mean, our boy Nix, got into it with someone who sent a picture. I don't know what he did. This guy sent a picture of him in a spa, giving him the finger for some reason. I mean, just some weird people on the internet.
That dude was a goofball.
I mean, I don't understand it. But there's a lot of, it's very, the fan base is very polar, when it comes to you're either team Dak or you hate him. It can't be in the middle. And I've said, I think I fall in the middle. I think you fall in the middle. I think most of the fan base falls in the middle, where we'll give some criticism, but let's not throw it all on one guy. I mean, there are, Dak's not playing defensive tackle, giving up 200 yards in a playoff game. Dak's not the running back getting 50 yards in a playoff game as a team. But Dak is the one who threw some interceptions at key moments. I mean, he has to own that. I mean, you got to own that. Dak's the one that I went back to at San Francisco when I was at that playoff game against Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, the Cowboys were the better team. The Cowboys weren't the better team in San Francisco, even though I thought the defense played well enough for them to win. 49ers were the better team. Dallas was the better team when we've had them in Dallas. So where are you with Dak and just the way the fan base is, where it's either you're all in or all out? It seems like it can't be no in between.
I mean, with Dak Prescott, I mean, I might as well just be all in. I mean, there's no reason to be. I'm definitely not all out. Look, I still think Dak is a top 10 quarterback. Period.
Yeah,
I do. That's where I stand with it. And I feel like that if you've got a top 10 quarterback in this league, then you can win. And I look at guys that have won, and a perfect example. And I know that people, the first ones to get upset about us, about the comparison or putting them in the same sentence is Eagles fans, because you sit there and you look at Jalen Hurts' stats through the playoffs. The dude was averaging about 150 yards a game passing, right? But if you have a really strong running game, you got a really stout defense, you're telling me you can't win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott?
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing that's going to lead me to believe that we could not do that with Dak Prescott. But that's not really kind of what we asked Dak Prescott to do. A lot of times it feels like they put a little bit too much on his shoulders, or I'm not making excuses for him, because he has made some poor decisions in games. But it's a team sport, man. And unfortunately, quarterbacks are always going to get all the credit when they win, all the blame when they lose. And that's not really how the game goes. That's not really how it's played. That's not really how this whole thing works. But I've got faith in Dak. I think that if you have a top 10 quarterback in this league, I think that you have a chance to win a Super Bowl. Because if you can build the roster around him, like several teams have done. I mean, look, you just look at the teams that have won Super Bowls with guys that aren't.
You got go down the line. Trent Dilfer, Joe Flacco, Nick Foles, Mark Rippon, Jeff Hostetler, Jalen Hurts.
I'd even say Matthew Stafford. And I'd argue that Matthew Stafford is really close in line with Dak Prescott.
Oh,
I think they're the same kind of quarterback. I think Dak Prescott actually probably is a little bit better passer of the ball than Matthew Stafford, if I'm being honest with you. I just think that Matthew Stafford ultimately got put in a great situation when he was traded to the Rams. But I agree with you. It's just an unfortunate situation that we haven't been able to put it all together. But I think that if Dak Prescott, I think that he's going to have a great season this year, and I think that he's going to, have a monster season with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. I think that he's going to put up big numbers. I think he's going to win Comeback Player of the Year. But I think none of that really means anything unless this team does something in the playoffs, because unfortunately, Dak's going to be judged off what happens in the playoffs. Because listen, yes, he threw a couple interceptions in that Green Bay game, but like you had said earlier, was he the one that was responsible for them giving up all the yards, all the rushing yards? Aaron Jones running all over this defense? Absolutely not. But don't nobody give a shit about that. All they're going to look at is that Dak threw 2 picks in a playoff game, and that's it. That's it. They're going to blame. It's he gets all the blame, and he should get criticized when he makes poor decisions and when he throws interceptions. But having an interception or two does not cost you the game. I mean, you've seen teams go and play at the Super Bowl level or even play on the playoff level where their quarterback turned the ball over and they were still able to win the game because the defense could hold down the fort. The offense rebounds and comes back, and they make up for that mistake that was made. So it is what it is, man. Unfortunately, Dak's going to have to, play out of his mind, or either that or this team is going to have to really be in that supportive role, which the craziest thing to me is that whenever Dak Prescott has got injured, the intensity that this defense plays with is like, why can't you play that all the time?
Yeah.
Because you remember that season a couple years ago, not last year, but when Dak got injured.
Let me just stop you real quick, because you get a super chat and it's directed to you. So
okay.
I feel obligated to make sure it gets on there. So can you see it?
Evening, boys. I'm not sure if it was Kelly who came up with this one, but What do the Cowboys and horse shit have in common? Philly fans can't keep either of them out of their mouths.
I had to put that out there. Great job, Chris. Appreciate it. But
Way to go,
that's
Chris.
so true.
And thanks
It's
for the
so true.
super chat.
Yeah, but talking about the defense, how it elevated when he got hurt. I mean, think about
Yeah.
it.
It's like, why couldn't they continue to play like that when he came back? Because when he came back, they sure as fuck didn't.
Yeah,
they kind of went right back to giving up, a lot of points in each game, and when Cooper Rush was the quarterback, I think they were allowing like maybe 18 points a game. Dak comes back and it's almost a 10-point swing. It went from like 18 points to like 24, 25 points or something like that a game, and it's just like, I don't know, man. It's just it'd be nice to see the Cowboys be able to put it together on both sides of the ball and have a complete season and have them go into the playoffs where all phases of the ball play well. You know what I mean? And Dak can do what he does because, he's an accurate passer. And people will throw that whole thing about the interceptions. Dak's an interception machine. That's not true. Not even in the playoffs is it true.
Interception percentages all time. He
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a guy, I forgot, one of the Twitter guys, the media guys for the Cowboys. He put out a few things. When you look at the stats, and I'm not a big stat guy, so I'm not, but his stats put him at the top of almost every statistical category or within the top in the NFL. And some of it's all time. And I think you said something interesting with the defense. It just seems like everyone just expects, even on the team, there's just waiting for, all right, Dak will bail us out, because he usually at the end of the game he gets going, and then he sometimes can get on a roll, and it's almost like they just come to expect that. And the best Dak Prescott is 25 to 30 attempts a game, or completions, if you want to say completions, whatever it is. But you don't want him throwing the ball 50, 60 times a game.
No.
That's and you don't want any quarterback doing that. So when you don't have the running game that you have, then that's what you're going to get. And if you look at those playoff losses, they could not run the football. I mean, how many of them did they not? The leading rusher didn't have 50 yards. They had 40 yards, 30 yards. If you're one-dimensional, it's like, Terrence Parsons was getting into it with some idiot, and they're like, well, look at his third down conversions. Well, if you're 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10,
gonna have a tough time converting.
What are the opportunities for success where not to jump on Philly again, but look at them last year. They're 3rd and 2, they're 3rd and 3, 3rd and 1. You can run or pass one. So the defense, if it's 3rd and 9, you're passing. Period. If you're trying to win the game.
I agree.
So a lot of that is, you look at the stats. Well, you got to look at what goes into the stats and what is around the stats. And I would say this to you. I agree 100%. Dak is top 10 quarterback easily in the NFL. He gives the Dallas Cowboys the best opportunity to win. And as long as he's got the star in his helmet, I'm all in on Dak Prescott. Now, if they said, hey, this year it didn't work out, we're going to just kind of bite the bullet, and we got Joe Milton who's got some promise and we traded for him, we're going to give him a shot, I'd understand. Like, I wouldn't kill the Cowboys if they did that, because I think there's been enough time, for Dak.
Oh yeah, I mean, what is he in year 9?
Yeah, 9 or 10, something like that.
Yeah.
But it would be
it's time.
Story finishes for him. You just hope health for the whole team and the whole league. You don't want a bunch of guys getting hurt, but you just hope that everyone stays healthy. And I think with the Cowboys, the thing is, and I love SoCal. A lot of people forget last year the Cowboys almost hit the over with a depleted team, and it was, you lose your quarterback, you lose your best players. I mean, you're not going to expect to win a whole bunch of games. So I don't know if you won the bet legitimately, because it really wasn't the legitimate Cowboys, but it is what it is. And I paid my bet, but it's 7.5 this time, and a healthy Cowboys team. I know they got a tough schedule. I'd be hard pressed to see how they can't win double digits this year with this team.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a double-digit win team, and I think that anybody that wouldn't take the over on that 7.5 wins, I mean, if you're a gambler and gambling is legal in your state, I implore you. I mean, that's free money. Vegas is giving you out free money. There's no way in hell the Dallas Cowboys don't win over 7.5 games. So, I mean, go put your money on that. You're going to get, that's just free money. I mean, just, I'm sure Uncle Cheech would co-sign that. I mean, I've got my bet placed. I know you got your bet placed. I mean, I may even go put a little bit more on that bet just because I can't resist getting, free money. But it's
a good value bet. If you have $10, Dak Prescott 3,000 to 1 MVP.
Oh wow. Yeah, that'd be a hell of a bet to make. Yeah.
So anyway, that's the betting advice. But we had a good show, an hour and a half. We had SoCal, prove the point of the comments don't match the live video. The comments don't match the live when you're live. So that kind of goes in hand with Twitter and everything.
You know what it reminded me of, because you ever seen the that video where the dog is behind the fence and he's barking and the fence opens up and it's just like, and then they close the fence again. And that was SoCal, man. I knew he was going to back down on that thing because I challenged him to bets last year on it, and he wouldn't bet me last year. And I said, look, if you're having an argument with somebody and they challenge you to a bet, that's where the rubber meets the road. And if you don't have the conviction and you don't have the faith in your own team to put your money where your mouth is, then everything that you said up to that point to me is irrelevant. It don't mean nothing because you don't even believe what you were saying. So like I said, I told him, I said, and it stands. I put my money on it. Obviously, he kind of wanted to back out, and he was going to challenge me to that bet. He wanted to get you out of there because at first my emotions were taking control, and I'm like, that's how I get roped in sometimes to making some unfair bets, because I'm like, yeah, I'll make that bet. But you're right. It should be to USC and Texas Tech, because that's what it was all about, was USC and Texas. Not whether Texas Tech will make the college football playoffs, but he said USC over Texas Tech. Well, let's bet it, and then no. So yeah, I love talking for college football though too.
And there's so many variables on that, on if you're gonna make the playoffs, right? Because like you said, your schedule's not tight. So if you slip up once, you could be a pretty damn good football team and you may not make the playoffs. There's a lot of things that'll go into it. So the leader. I was just curious because I was looking at the leading MVP candidate is Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. Those are your three.
And it's funny though, because you got our local Philly troll in here that we haven't mentioned his name at all tonight, but I'm going to right now. We got Carl in here laughing, saying Dak MVP. 2 years ago, Dak was a runner-up for MVP, second in MVP votes behind Lamar Jackson. And many look back at that season and think that Dak Prescott deserved that, and he did not have even close to the receiving core that year that he has this year. So. I mean, I know there's long odds because he's coming back from a big injury, but I wouldn't laugh that up, because I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Dak could have an MVP caliber season. I really don't.
You got the offense. You look at value. $10 brings you $310.
Yeah.
You piss that away at Walmart,
Right. Yeah. No, $10 is not a bad deal to place on that, because the odds are long, but the payoff is good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, well, cool, man. Well, we've been dipping an hour and a half. This is a comeback show. We worked off the rust a little bit. Kelly got everything figured out. We brought a special guest in to talk some trash, but he didn't talk any trash. We thought it was going to be a heated debate, but it ended up being a love fest, and admitting that maybe the Texas Tech is better than USC, and he admitted it, which is always it's the hardest thing to do. But when you're in person, he did admit it, and it makes you feel better when you tell the truth. It makes you feel good. So it definitely
and the truth shall set you free.
Well, we did. Kelly and I did say, if Miami and Texas Tech play each other in the playoffs, we will have a Cowboys Cave road show, and Kelly and I will be at the game.
Absolutely.
Hopefully it'll be civil. Might be.
I will make that happen. Hey, look, I think we could be passionate about this thing, but I think we could be civil. It'd be a hell of an experience.
gentlemen about it. It'll be good. But I think for either one of us, we're starved for championships, right? I think, Miami, it's been since 2001. So it's been a long time coming from McCain's and the Cowboys, of course, and Texas Tech and your Cowboys as well. And poor Jimmy Dee with the Knicks. I mean, they just kind of look like they just choked away their game. So we're all starved for some. I don't know if it's a Cowboys Cave jinx, but we need some champions. Who's that arriving?
Huh?
Who's that? In the cave? What's going on?
Say hi.
Hi.
Who's your favorite football team?
Who's your favorite football team?
Cowboys.
Who do you hate the most? What team do you hate the most?
The Eagle.
Look at you! I mean, is she ready to do some hype videos and to do some stuff? I think we got to get something going on there. We definitely got to get something going on. But yeah.
Yeah, so. You can you give them a how about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys?
Could you say it any better? Could you say it any better? So sweet. So good, so.
Go get you some
we'll
food.
let you roll out because Kelly's got family and I got to go to bed because I got a graduation tomorrow and I'm going to be sitting in the stands for like 5 hours. Thankfully, it's going to be cool. But Kelly, appreciate it. Everyone in the chat, it's been awesome. Been a lot of fun. We'll be seeing you next week. Jimmy D and I will be back. Kelly and I are back. We've got a couple of our guests decided to go to Europe. So we're going to be getting our guest in. So we've got some former Cowboys coming in the cave next month. So we're going to get back in the swing of things and get this thing going because it's 100 days kickoff. Football season started. So we're going to get ready. We appreciate it. Everyone have a great one. Kelly, we'll see you later, brother. Take care. Peace.
Sure.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need somebody.
All right, brother.